Ready for medical career growth? Yes, you are in the right place. Hello, this is Dr. Neema Bish, BDS by degree and a pharma professional. As a founder of Career in Pharma, our mission is to guide medical professionals towards remarkable success in the pharma industry. With a track record of over 700 plus students trained and placed into various premier pharma companies, we are here to elevate your journey. Hello everyone. Once again, I welcome you all to Career in Pharma. Now in today's video, which is another episode of our pharmacovigilance important interview question answer series. This is another episode in the same series where we are going to talk about what is causality and causality assessment in pharmacovigilance. Now in the last video we talked about what is D-challenge, challenge, D-challenge and re-challenge. Now in this video we will understand what is causality and how challenge, D-challenge, re-challenge help us in assessing the causality. Yes? So let's begin this video, and in case till now if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe it as soon as possible so that you can keep yourself updated with important interview question answers with explanation of each and every question. Yes? So let's begin with causality. Now, what is causality in pharmacovigilance? So causality in pharmacovigilance is nothing. It is simply the relationship between the suspected drug, product and the suspected adverse event. Now, why we are using the word suspected? Because until and unless we don't conclude anything final, we don't confirm anything final, till that time we call it as suspected, because not necessary that every adverse event happening in the patient is because of the product, right? So if it's not because of the drug, then the drug will be suspected, and not necessary that the adverse event happening is because of the drug. So it's not because of the drug, then it's suspected, right? And even the adverse event which is happening can be suspected, because not necessary that adverse event is a direct effect of the drug, right? It could be anything else also. So till the time we reach to any final conclusion, confirmation, we call it as suspected drug and the suspected adverse event. So causality is nothing, it is a relationship between. So now this relationship could be anything. Means the adverse event could be because of drug, could not be because of drug, it could be because of any factor. So whatever relationship we will get, that is a causality, right? Now, what is causality assessment? Now causality assessment is assessing the relationship. Now here we are going to find out the relationship, we are going to assess the relationship between the suspected drug and the suspected adverse event, and that is known as causality assessment. So in simpler terms, assessment of the relationship between the suspected drug and suspected adverse event is called causality assessment. Now let me tell you, causality assessment is the backbone of pharmacovigilance. Yes, because of this assessment only physicians, different team members, they are able to conclude, medical reviewer, they are able to conclude what is the relationship between the drug and the adverse event, and based on that the future of any drug can be decided by the pharma companies, and that's how it's going to impact overall safety of the drug which any patient is taking, right? Pharma company releases n number of drugs. They do so many research. They bring so many drugs into market. Already so many drugs are there into market. So have you ever imagined how you are able to take any drug with so much of confidence? How you are able to, if you are a clinician, how you are able to prescribe any drug to any patient with so much of confidence? Because at the back end, medical reviewer, physicians and other team members, they are assessing these causality. They are giving their conclusions. That's why pharma company able to decide the future of the growth, future of the drug, and that's how ultimately it's going to decide the safety of the patient. Yes, because ultimate aim is whatever medicine the patient is taking should be useful, should not cause any unnecessary harm. The benefit should outweigh the risk, right? So that's why patient is using medicine. If risks are more, benefit is less, no one is going to use the medicine. If serious side effects, adverse events are there, no one is going to use the medicine. So it is very important to find out the reason for any adverse event happening because of that. So that is the backbone, and this is the causality assessment. Yes. Now, especially if you are going to apply for drug safety physician role or a medical reviewer role, then definitely this causality assessment and causality you should be knowing 100%, and not just for medical reviewer, for other roles as well, such as drug safety associate and people who are going to give interview for even call center, medical information call center, they should also be knowing this. Yes. Now, we understood what is causality, we understood what is causality assessment. Now we will see what are the factors which we can use to assess the causality. So first of all, whenever we are assessing the relationship between the adverse event and the drug, the medicine, we need to see the time relationship. Means when the patient took the drug, when the adverse event is happening, that is called as time relationship. Other is, we should be well aware of the pharmacology of the drug, because if you know the pharmacology of the drug, if you know how the drug behaves, if you know the mechanism of the action of the drug, many adverse event you will be able to resolve, you will be able to get your answer why it is happening, because many times many adverse effects happens because of the class of the drug, because of the pharmacology of the drug, how it's behave in the body. So it is very important to understand the pharmacology of the drug as well, to understand the causality, to assess the causality. Other option is, whenever you are assessing causality, you should be knowing if patient is on any other concomitant medication, if patient is having some other concurrent illness, so that you can check for drug-drug interaction, you can check for drug-disease interaction. Yes, because not necessary that whatever effect, adverse effect, side effect you see after taking the medicine is always because of the drug. It could be patient allergy, it could be drug-disease interaction, it could be drug-drug interaction. So there could be multiple factors. You can't say that the side effect or the adverse effect is because of the drug only, right? There could be multiple factors. That's why we are assessing this causality. Another factor which you can use to assess the causality is the challenge that we discussed in last video. Yes. So if you want to make sure that if the adverse event is happening because of the drug or not, you can do D-challenge. You can withdraw the drug, you can see how the adverse effect response is, if it's resolving or not. And then you can go for re-challenge as well. When the D-challenge is positive, to get the final confirmation conclusion, you can do re-challenge as well. So these are the factors to assess causality. Yes. So what is causality? What is causality assessment? Factors to look for causality is time relationship between when the patient is taking drug, when the adverse event is happening. Yes. Then you need to know the pharmacology of the drug. Let's say the patient is taking paracetamol and after that vomiting happened. You should be knowing how paracetamol works, what is the mechanism of action, what is the pharmacology of the drug. EDME, you should be knowing about paracetamol. Third factor, you should be knowing if patient is already into any diabetes medicine, hypertension medicine, if patient is already having diabetes, already into some other disease, already hypertensive. These factors you should be knowing to assess the causality. Then you should be able to check the re-challenge results. You should be able to check the re-challenge results, and that's how you will be able to assess the causality after seeing all these factors. Yes. Now inside pharmacovigilance, one thing is very important is you should always provide your assessment based on the present data. You can't make any assumption. Okay, for example, if any patient report is coming to you and in that report, whatever is mentioned, based on that only you have to provide your causality assessment. You can't assume anything which is not given in the report. You can't simply assume that after taking the medicine, let's say the patient had vomiting, the patient must have withdrawn the drug. If it's not written in the report, you should not assume that the patient must have stopped the drug. So that is one example. So in pharmacovigilance, it is very important. You have to go as per the document, as per the data provided in the document. You can't make any assumption, because if you start making assumptions, if you start making guesses, then there is no end. You can do many assumptions. You can make so many guesses, right? So this is not a guess game. This is whatever is given in the data. According to that, you are going to assess the causality. You are going to give your final conclusion, right? So this is about causality assessment. Now I talk about what are the different scales available to assess the causality. So apart from these factors where we check the time relationship between the drug and the event, where we check any concomitant medications, any concurrent illness, we also check pharmacology of the drug. We also check T-challenge, re-challenge results. Apart from that, we have few scales to assess the causality, which is one of the important interview questions. So there are n number of causality assessment scales, but two you should be knowing for the purpose of assessing it when you will be into job and also for interview. So first is WHO-UMC scale. Second is Naranjo-ADR probability scale. Now WHO-UMC is nothing. This is the scale given by WHO-UMC, that is ADR Monitoring Center, Central ADR Monitoring Center, Uppsala Monitoring Center for Adverse Drug Reaction. Okay, so that is WHO-UMC Center, and this WHO-UMC scale is given by WHO-UMC. Now inside this WHO-UMC scale, we have many categories, like we have certain, probable, possible, yes, and there are many other categories which we discuss in the next video. So in another video we will discuss separately WHO-UMC scale only, because it is one of the important interview questions. Now other scale apart from WHO-UMC scale is Naranjo scale. Yes, that is Naranjo-ADR probability scale, where the assessment, causality assessment is done based on some scoring, and to have that score we ask few questions, and based on what scores the patient is getting we will assess the causality. So that is the Naranjo-ADR probability scale. If you Google it, you can get this information about Naranjo-ADR probability scale also. And in the next video, we are going to talk about WHO-UMC causality scale in detail. We will talk about each and every category with example. Yes, so please stay updated, and we'll be coming soon with next video where we will talk about WHO-UMC causality scale, one of the most important interview questions for pharmacovigilance. And I hope from today's video you get clarity on what is causality, how we assess causality, what is causality assessment, and different scales to assess the causality. Yes, and if you really like this explanation, if you really get the simple answer for this causality and you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and please don't forget to share this video to your friends. Yes, so we'll be coming soon with some fresh next video. Till the time I come again, till that time please stay safe, aware, healthy, updated, and keep exploring new things. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated regarding important interview questions and job updates as well. Thank you. Have a nice day.